Hello and welcome to our first online Kids Time. I'm Reverend Heather. Some of you will know me from school assemblies and Messy Church, or you may have seen me in one of our 4 churches.
And I am Captain Alan, and you may know me from the same things. Can we help? Can we help? Can we help? Please let us help.
I'm quite good at crafts.
And I am cool at singing.
Please can we help? Oh, I don't know. What do you think, Alan?
Well, I guess they could help us, but as long as they can follow our instructions.
What kind of instructions?
Yes, what kind of instructions?
Well, any instructions that are given to you, I suppose.
Things like camera skills, for instance.
What do you mean by camera skills, Alan?
Well, only talking when it's your turn to talk, okay? And looking that way when asked, so that our friends at home can see us easily. Oh yeah, most important of all, no arguing. Yes, easy peasy.
We can do that, Alan. We can do that. Well, that's settled then. Actually, thinking about instructions and following instructions, we'll be thinking a little later on of some instructions which billions of people have followed through the years. So, okay, without further ado, during Kids Time today, we will be doing the following.
Exercising to song.
Hearing a well-known Bible story.
Learning what those famous instructions were.
And making something out of whatever you've got at home.
Competitions to win a bird. And a bit more fun
with
Sonny and Rach. Okay, let's move on to the story now, shall we? By the way, where's Rach gone?
Oh, she's gone out for her daily exercise. I think we've been sitting for a while now, so it might be good for us all to kind of stretch a little bit and have a bit of a move around before we hear the story.
Okay, that's fine. Shall I announce the exercise song? Can I announce it, please?
Well, you can, as long as you follow my instructions. So listen to what I say. Okay. So now clear your throat and announce.
Ladies and gentlemen, our exercise song, our God is a great big God. Whee!
Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. He's higher than the skyscraper, and He's deeper than the submarine. He's wider than the universe, and beyond my wildest dreams. And He's got me, since before the world began. How wonderful to be a part of God's amazing plan. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God. Our God is a great big God, and He holds us in His hands. Our God is a great big
called The Story of the Good Samaritan. It's a story from the Bible, and I'd like you to help me tell it. Every time I say the crowd sighed, I would like you to say, "Oh dear." Can you do that? That's great. So let's begin. One day when Jesus was teaching, someone in the crowd asked, "What do I have to do so I can live forever?" Jesus smiled. "Love God and love your neighbour as yourself." "But who is my neighbour? Do you mean the family living next door?" the questioner asked. "Let me tell you a story," Jesus replied. Once upon a time, there was a man travelling from Jerusalem to Jericho. It was a dangerous road, and the man was attacked by robbers. The robbers took everything he had. They beat him and went away, leaving him lying there, wounded and in pain. The crowd sighed. "Oh dear." In a short while, a priest on his way home came walking down the road. He saw the man lying beside the road. What do you think he did? He crossed to the other side of the road and walked away. The crowd sighed. "Oh dear." "Hold on," Jesus said. Soon another man passed by. He also served God at the temple. So what do you think he did? Oh, can you believe it? He also crossed to the other side of the road and left the man to die. The crowd sighed. "Oh dear." "Don't worry," said Jesus, because someone else came along that day. He was a Samaritan. The crowd sighed. "Oh dear. Samaritans don't like us. We don't like Samaritans. They're different from us." "Yes, I know that," said Jesus. But when this Samaritan saw the injured man, he felt sorry for him. He didn't walk away. He went over to him. He bandaged his wounds and poured oil on them. He put the man on his own donkey and took him to a hotel and made sure that he would be all right. Then he said goodbye to the man and paid for the man to stay at the hotel until he was totally well again. Then Jesus asked the man who had asked him the question and all of the crowd who were listening, which of these men was a neighbour to the man who had been robbed? "The third one, the Samaritan, of course," the man answered. "That's right," Jesus smiled, "because your neighbour is anyone who needs help, and you should go and do the same and help your neighbour as well." So what a great example to us all that story is, that we should all help others whenever we can. Now, of course, when Jesus told this story, there was no coronavirus around. So we need to make sure we still follow the coronavirus instructions, because that helps us as well as others to stay safe. But if you know someone needs help, tell an adult. was a good story. It's a pity Sonny missed it. He's having a wash. You know what I don't understand? Why the first two travellers didn't stop to help the poor man.
Yeah, why didn't the travellers stop to help the poor man? We're not sure why, because Jesus didn't tell us in the story. I imagine they must have made some excuse to themselves. I wonder what that was. I bet they were in too much of a hurry or something. Maybe they just thought they'd leave it to someone else, as we often do. Does anyone remember why Jesus told the story?
I think someone had asked him, "Who is my neighbour?"
That's right, Rach. Well done. Somebody had asked who is my neighbour. And before that, somebody had already asked him what were the most important instructions that God has given us all. Now, what were those instructions? I think if I remember, they were love God and love your neighbour. And then the story Jesus told showed that anyone who needs help, that's our neighbour. I tell you what though, with that thought in mind, it's time to move around again, eh? Have a song. What do you think, Rach?
Yeah, good idea, but while you sing, I'll just go and find Sonny, okay?
Okay, see you in a bit.
Bye.
You know, it's really good to learn verses out of the Bible. And that's what we're going to do now. It's found in Proverbs chapter 3 and verse 5. And this is what it says. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. This is what it says in Proverbs 3 verse 5. Don't rely on what you got, learn to rely on the Lord. Everybody, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. This is what it says in Proverbs 3 verse 5. Don't rely on what you got, learn to rely on the Lord on your own.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart, and lean not on your own understanding. This is what it says in Proverbs 3 verse 5. Don't rely on what you've got, learn to rely on the Lord.
Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. Trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not on your own understanding. This is what it says in Proverbs 3 verse 5. Don't rely on what you got, learn to rely on the Lord.
Hi, we're going to make a craft now. I'm going to show you how to make a flower basket. You can use this, you can make this using things that you find in your house. They don't have to be exactly the same as the things that I'm using, but what does matter is that you follow the instructions. So this flower basket is going to help to remind us to pray for somebody. So I've written on here at the end, I'm praying for, and then you can either write in the name of the person and give it to them, or you can keep it and use that as a reminder to yourself to pray for that person. So the first thing we need is to make the basket at the bottom. So I've used a coloured paper plate to do that, which I've cut in half down the middle, but you might have white paper plates and that's absolutely fine. You can use a white paper plate. You could paint that like I've painted that one there if you've got paints, but if you haven't got paints you could crayon that, or you could use felt tip pens. If you haven't got paper plates, then you could use either a white piece of card and colour it, or you could use coloured card, and you can cut out a semicircle by using a plate like that as your template, because it doesn't matter if it's slightly bigger or slightly smaller than the flower basket that I've made. And if you haven't got any sheets of craft cardboard, that doesn't matter either, because you can just use a box. You can just take that apart, an old box, and use that again with a plate to make your template. You could use a cereal box. There's a box that would do. Any box that isn't being used anymore. So when you've found what you're going to use and you've cut out your templates, you then need to punch a hole, or lots of holes, around the edges of the paper plate, and you do that with a hole punch like this. Okay? Now if you don't have one of these hole punches at home, you could ask an adult very carefully to use a pair of scissors and to make holes round the edge of the plate. So once you've got the holes made round your plate, you can get a piece of wool. Any wool that's thick is quite good, because that makes it a nice chunky effect. But if you haven't got wool, you could just use a piece of string. There's coloured string, but you could have ordinary plain string. Or here's a piece of ribbon. Anything that will just go through the holes will work absolutely fine. So we take our piece of wool and we thread it through the first hole, and you'll see that I've put round the piece of wool, I've wrapped a piece of tape round the top of the wool in order to keep the end of it all nice together, because what tends to happen if you don't have that on is the end gets kind of sprayed out like that, and then it's difficult to get it through the holes. So that just keeps it together. So when you put it through the piece of wool or string or whatever it is, if you put that through the first time, you just want to tie a knot, whoops, like that, and we'll make that a double knot just to make sure it doesn't slip through the hole, and then we won't keep losing the wool through the hole. And then we're going to thread or sew like that in and out of each of the holes, and that creates a nice pattern around the edge, and it joins the two pieces together. So you've just got to make sure that your piece of wool or whatever it is that you're using, your piece of ribbon or your piece of string, is long enough to go through every single hole. So let's just, we should be there, nearly there now. There we go. And into the last hole there. And then of course we just need to tie that off again at the other end. We don't want it to come undone, do we? That would be very sad if it all came undone again. So I'm just going to tie that in a knot. It's not a very good knot. Let's just put another knot in there. There we go. That makes that nice and secure, and we'll pull it nice and tight, and we'll just cut those ends off there to make it nice and neat. Like that. There we are. So there we've got our flower basket, see? Okay, so into the flower basket we're going to put our flowers. Now flowers need stems, so I've got here some lollipop sticks which I'm just going to glue inside, whoops, inside like that. You could have plain lollipop sticks like that, which just come out literally from a lollipop, and you could just glue them in. But if you haven't got lollipop sticks, there's other things that you can use. Now I've also got some paper straws here. You could do it with paper straws. You just need to flatten them down, just squash them down, give them a good press down like that, and then you could use them instead of the sticks. If you haven't got straws and you haven't got lollipop sticks, you could just cut out a piece of card, and if the card isn't thick enough or heavy enough, if you stick 2 or 3 pieces of card together, then that will make it a bit more substantial and that will make it a bit stronger. So you could use these as your plant stems like that, and of course you can cut them shorter if you want, but it might be quite nice to have nice long stems. But I'm going to use the lollipop sticks now because they tend to stick a little bit quicker. So I'm just using some ordinary craft glue. It's just ordinary PVA glue. Any craft glue will do. If you haven't got glue, you can always use some sticky tape, and you're putting that inside so nobody will see it, so that'd be fine. Just put those 3 sticks in there like that. There we go. There, and then we're ready to put our flowers on. So you can make up your own flowers, whatever flowers you want to put on your sticks like that. You can choose them, but there are some templates on the website for you to use if you would like. So I'm going to get my glue, and this one looks a little bit like a daffodil, I think, so perhaps I'm going to use, these are actually little paper cake cases and they're rather pretty, and I'm going to turn it inside out like that and put a little bit of glue on the inside, so that looks a bit like the trumpet of a daffodil, doesn't it? And then I'm going to put a little yellow ball that I've got, crafting ball there, and I'm just going to pop that in the middle like that and stick it in, and then I'm going to stick that on to the stick like that. So we'll just leave that flat while it dries for a moment or two, and we'll make the other flowers. So here's a different shaped flower. It's a nice blue flower, so we'll put that in the middle. And these ones just came out of a packet that I just happened to have in the house. I've had these for years and I don't think I've ever used them. There they are, nice flowers. So ideal use now for that. Just gives it a nice inside. And let's see, let's put a little circle perhaps. Let's put a little circle in the middle of that, and you could just cut out circles of card or paper. You could cut them out from magazines or from old cards, anything that's lying around the house at all. You can just use whatever you've got that's suitable and available. So just to speed things up, there's a couple here that I've just put together earlier, so we'll just pop them on there like that. And we'll pop that one on there. So we've got corrugated, so I've got a corrugated card flower there with a bit of material, and then a sticky jewel on as well. So all sorts of different things that you can use, anything that you've got in a craft stash or anything that just lies around the house. And then let's just put one last flower on there like that. Oh, that's nice and pretty. There we go. Now that's just going to take a few minutes to dry, so I'm not going to hold that one up, I'll just leave that there. But here's the one that's already dry that I did earlier. And then of course when you've done that, you put all your flowers together, then that's where you can just write along that bottom bit there, I'm praying for. And there you have that wonderful flower basket. And we'd love to see pictures of the flower baskets that you make, and you can take photos of those pictures, ask an adult to help you, and then you can text or email them to the address on the website, and we would like to send you a little present, a little back, which is a bird that's kind of made of wood that you can colour in, and then you can throw that to make the bird fly. So you will need to tell us your name and address in order for us to send you back a bird. So I hope you enjoy making them, and do remember you can be just as creative as you want to be. And remember as well that for those of us who listen to the words of Jesus, that the greatest instructions are to love God and love our neighbours, especially anyone who needs our help. So do join us again soon, but for now it's goodbye from Alan.
And goodbye from Heather.
And it's goodbye from Rach. Bye.
And it's bye bye from Sunny.
So bye. So we'll see you all soon, I hope. And as we've been thinking about instructions, we'll leave you with a song. And the words were especially written by an 8-year-old girl to help us through the current times and to keep safe. So stay safe, take care, we'll see you soon.
Stay safe, be kind, have faith, calm your mind, be brave, be strong, it won't be long, no it won't be long. Stay safe, be kind, have faith, calm your mind, be brave, be strong, it won't be long, no it won't be long. Keep praying to the God above, and never forget God's love. Yes, keep praying to God above, and never forget God's love. Stay safe, be kind, have faith, calm your mind, be brave, be strong, it won't be long, no it won't be long. Stay safe, be kind, have faith, calm your mind, be brave, be be strong, peace won't be long, no it won't be long. Keep praying to God above, and never forget God's love. Yes, keep praying to God above, and never forget God's love.